Okay, so I just wanted to share this quote from Barbara Brown Wilson in her book Resilience for All, where she talks about this intersection of equity and community-driven design, and just highlight the latter part of this quote, which the intersection of resilience and community-driven design is really at this addressing complex urban problems through collaboration guided by knowledge, and that is a really critical part of what we try to do in the Mayor's Office of Criminal Justice, is really encourage collaboration between government and community in this work of addressing public safety. We work in 15 public housing developments across the city, and the map that you showed, Kizzy, of the areas with high heat risk definitely overlap with the same communities that are dealing with extreme public safety issues, crime prevention, crime issues in particular. And these communities are also grappling with hardship index, in which they have overcrowded housing, high poverty rates, unemployment. So there's this challenge that they're dealing with where they're at risk in terms of climate change, but then they're also risk in terms of just economic and social development. And what does that mean in this conversation around resilience, building, strengthening the physical infrastructure of these communities when they're grappling with daily stressors? So in the Mayor's Office of Criminal Justice, we work with communities in particular that are living in public housing through this really in-depth capacity building program. And I want to really stress in the first slide I showed with the conversation around collaboration by knowledge, is that both entities bring knowledge to the table. Communities bring knowledge to the table, as does government, and there's capacity building on both ends. So government representatives understanding what are the key challenges that communities are facing on the ground from their perspective, but then also communities understanding and building their own understanding of topics such as crime prevention through environmental design, community organizing, all those different aspects that help support their ability to feel empowered and to do the work on their own, particularly when government pulls out. And I say that because in the Mayor's Office, we work in these cycles where it's like 2 to 4 year cycles where a whole lot of money is thrown into a community and then we exit. And so the important part of this is really taking residents through this process of understanding participatory budgeting. How can they apply for funds on their own? How can they activate spaces, and the importance of activating spaces to this conversation of public safety. And in this work of building their capacities, also just like building their awareness, understanding of how government works, how to contribute to decision making, in terms of government decision making, but then also just understanding all the other factors that are impacting them and how they can be a part of solutions. And so what this has resulted is in many different public space interventions throughout the city. This is in the Bronx, using mural art in their playgrounds to address social cohesion. This is also in the Bronx in Patterson houses, building a serenity garden to address mental health issues and substance abuse. This is in Brownsville, Brooklyn, addressing social infrastructure in the public street to address public safety, perceptions of safety at night. This is also in Brownsville, Brooklyn, using technology and working with young people to improve a public open space so that it's active at night. And I also want to introduce to this conversation, and someone else from Sidewalks Labs also talked about this, which is evaluation and metrics for success. And there can be many different metrics and indicators, but it's important to actually define what the goal is in this conversation around building social resilience. And how do you get there? What are those metrics? How do you know that you're successful? Is an important aspect of it. It's important for us because you can have wonderful placemaking and public space interventions, but how do you know you're actually moving the needle on the challenge that you're aiming to address? And so these are the different focus areas of our way of measuring social impact in this public space work. So I'll just end with this, another quote from Barbara Brown Wilson's book, Resilience for All, and where it really talks about actively refuting these systems of oppression, because in this work we recognize and acknowledge that institutional racism has been at the heart and foundation of the challenges that these communities have been facing and what's set them back. and that there are power differentials, there are power dynamics. When community and government co-create on something, there are power differentials that you must acknowledge and account for. And at times it may mean getting out of the way and let the community drive the project. At times it means supporting where necessary, but also just acknowledge that there are those power differentials between different stakeholders when they come together. Thank you.